Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth and rule well. And I want to say Shalom to Akban Akwat out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. As you can see from the video on the screen, today's title is called "Are You an Edomite Because of the Way You Look?" And then in parentheses, answered, right? So I wasn't even originally gonna do a lesson about this. I actually had some other things somewhere that I was gonna do some lesson on. The stuff I have saved in my phone, and saved into my news app, the Google News app. Elsewhere, hell, I probably have stuff, saved on the in I have a folder. It's on either. It's not there, but it's probably I have stuff, all over the place, and like the lessons, the pictures. I mean, like the screenshots. I don't have anything there right now, but that's a place I usually check sometimes. So hey, man, this just kind of came across the front page of YouTube when I was scrolling down, seeing what was going down, what was going on, the things that the brothers and apostles and elders were making. And I remembered this video. I saw it because GMS on the Go. I don't know if he recently posted this. I don't know if this just popped up. Let me go to his shorts and see if it's recent. It doesn't look like it's recent at all, but for some reason it popped up. Speaking of Edomite, right? It popped up for some reason. All right, and I guess it was doing it for some other people too, because I don't know if it was 3 weeks ago, or I guess this was like a month ago. But 3 weeks ago, this brother said this song just doesn't get old, and I agree. This song's fucking hilarious, and I catch myself singing it in my head sometimes. So, are you an Edomite because of the way you look? Answered, right? And we're gonna go ahead and get this. So this is, it popped up. So it's all through the spirit, because if I go home, I'll show you how it popped up. If you scroll down, you see these. See, there it is. Boom, right there. It popped up right in this list. And I said, you know what, let's go ahead and do a lesson on that, because, it's been a minute since we've talked about it. We recycle, through these lessons frequently, because, you don't know if there's new brothers and sisters that are waking up, and there is. All right, we don't know if they happen to be on our board, but there's always brothers and sisters that are waking up, and, they got to get this information as well, because that's a common misunderstanding that's been kind of perpetrated by people like Vocab Malone, and these other salty Edomites. Now, Vocab Malone is an Edomite, and how do we know that? Well, we'll touch on that. Right? There's ways you can tell. Now, the title of this video, and this is by GMS on the Go. This is the elder brother out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Elder Hawad is him here. Excellent brother, funny as hell. Right? Very comical, but very truthful at the same time. Right? And guys, he could be a comedian if he wasn't in this truth, but it's better that he's in this truth, right? And a lot of brothers in this truth, man, they could do stand up if they really wanted to. Not that anybody would, because but educational and at the same time funny. All right, not that any of these things are for entertainment, but they can be entertaining at the same time. So he wrote, "E is finished. Has nothing to do with skin color, but bloodline," and we're gonna prove that. You can see, the brothers in the know. We already got numbers 1 and 16 through 18 up. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and play this video. Now, if you haven't seen this before, oh boy, you are in for a treat. So here you go. Go ahead and watch this video. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the music off so you can enjoy this in its full capacity. And I'm gonna go ahead and play it. So here you go. Enjoy this.
I thought I was safe inside the crowd. Even if I'm Edomite, I know I'm safe through faith in Christ. God, am I an Edomite? Think about love, these I've hated. That means if you look like me, you won't make it. God so loved the world that whosoever except for you, Edomites. If you believe on Jesus Christ, well, I mean, like, unless you are an Edomite. Am I an Edomite?
So there you go. So I don't know. Who knows, man? This song doesn't get old. GMS Des Moines says, dude, Jake, Joe. I don't know what he's saying there. It says, Jake is tripping. He could be a Jake. He could be. You never know. That'd be some funny shit. Says, Con, it never gets old. That's GMS Facts Works. 144. You have, Magan. I can't pronounce it. Magan Ha'amath. Magan Ha'amath. Kaya Yahweh. I'm not the best with the Hebrew, but he just did some laughing emojis. And you know, it's hilarious. Who knows? I mean, I think this guy's an Edomite. Who knows? You never know at this point. Fucking on his knees. Am I an Edomite? Fucking sitting on the beach, kneeling on the beach, singing Edomite songs. It's just ridiculous, man. Who knows? I think he's an Edomite, but who knows? He could be a Jake with something stupid, as stupid and unlearned as that, right? But the question is, you know, that this guy is essentially asking, God, am I an Edomite? Is he an Edomite, right? Let's hear what he says again.
Am I an Edomite? Will I burn just 'cause I'm white?
All right. Will I burn just 'cause I'm white? Well, first of all, your idea of burning ain't gonna happen, right? There's not a cavernous hell with 12 hells, and you know, there it is Asmodeus and all these other demons are standing around, right? And you have Baal, and they're sitting there with pitchforks and tails, and out from the fold, you see through a cavern, you see Satan come out. He's got the horns, he's all red, right? This little stickly demon creature with this tail with the pointed thing, and he's got a red pitchfork. He comes. That place don't exist, man. That's made up. That's made up. It's a fucking made up place. It's a made up place, man. All right, and it doesn't exist. And you have all these names of all these crazy demons that most of them aren't even from the Bible. Now I can't remember if Asmodeus, Asmodeus is it's a Jewish demon. So you see it, Asmodeus. All right, king of demons. I don't think that one's in the Talmudic stories. Now it's not from. I don't think that one's in the Bible. Now, I think the one. There's some that are named, like Belial is in the Bible, and I believe Azazel. I don't know if that. I think that was in. Let me see, Azazel. Now that's is that an angel? That's a demon. Okay, yeah, I thought, because I've heard people mention angel from Azazel, but no, Azazel is another demon from what? Jewish legends. All right, a demon or spirit in whom an ancient rite of Yom Kippur was sent bearing the sins of the Jewish people. All right, so you have all these Azazel, Belial, Asmodeus, all these different things. Oh, don't say those names. Well, guess what? We have the armor of the Lord, right? And first of all, those are a lot of just they're folklore. They're folklore. Let's go back and see what it says. Legends. What is a legend? One sec. Let's go and look what is a legend. And I don't mean a legend as in, oh, it's a legend. Definition. Right? A traditional story, sometimes popular regarded as historical, but unauthenticated. Another word for this is a fable. Okay? A fable. All right? A short story, typically with animals or characters conveying a moral. All right? Or another one would be, so we have a fable, a legend, a tale. All right? A tale, a fictitious or true narrative. This one's fictitious. It says a story, especially one that is imaginatively recounted. It's imaginary, man. It's imaginary. So look, you know, so Asmodeus is in the Bible. So here it is. I knew that one. I knew that one. I think was in it. So you see it. It was Asmodeus, the evil spirit killed, right? So it talks about certain things every once in a while, but the fact that they put these out there is just Anyway, that's not how it's gonna be. All right, there's not a place where these things are dwelling. All right, there are demons. All right, don't get us wrong, but they the stories. What is it? The 12 hells and the 9 hells. All right, whatever they call them. The 9 hells. That's Forgotten Realms. All right, so that's from Dungeons and Dragons, but it's a real thing. There's the 12 hells. There's one of them. 12 hells. What is it? How many planes of hell? And they use it in D&D, but there's actually it's a real fucking thing. Oh, here it is, the nine circles of hell. And where did it come from? Dante's Inferno. That's what it's called, the 9 circles of hell. And they're limbo, lust, gluttony, greed, anger, heresy, violence, fraud, and treachery. All right, look, man. It don't exist. All right, it don't exist. It's something from Dante's Inferno. What is Dante's Inferno? Dante's Inferno. It's a video game too. But if you go and look it up, you just type in Dante's Inferno. It's a novel. It's just a book. It says Inferno is the first part of Italian writer Dante Alighieri's 14th century narrative poem, The Divine Comedy. So it's just, look, it's a comedy. It's a divine comedy, and it's a poem. All right, and it's not biblical, man. It's not biblical. So there you go. Not that needs to be explained. So there's no place like that with hell. All right, that's when you're thinking of when it talks about the lake that burneth with fire and sulfur. That's talking about, you know, the essentially the craters that are going to be created by the ICBM missiles. All right, the ICBM, the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay, they're missiles. ICBMs. It's in the name. Intercontinental ballistic missile. It's a ballistic missile that can be what? Intercontinental. There you go. But that's, you know, so you're not going to burn in that state. Now, by burning in a state, you know, if you know, in the end days, by getting hit with those nukes, yeah, absolutely. All right, absolutely. And that's not going to just be Esau. That's going to be anyone, especially those that take the mark, man. Okay? So going back, will I burn just because I'm white? Well, let's go over to Numbers 1 and 16 through verse 18. And let's answer this question. First of all, is it because you're white? Is it because you're brown? Is it because you're green? Not that there's green people, but is it because of a simple skin color thing, how we know our who we are? Because you have the Edomites, right? You have the Ishmaelites, and I guess we might as well name them off. You have the Edomites, who would be called the so-called white people. All right, you have the Ishmaelites, who are the so-called Arabs, right? You have Moab, the so-called Chinese. You have Ammon, the so-called Japanese. You have Ham, the so-called Africans, right? Who else do you have? You have other variants of Edomites. All right, you have the Amalekites, who are the Jewish people. You have the Magog, who are the Russians, right? And then who else? I feel like you have Elam, all right, who are the Indians over there from India. All right, those are the heathen nations. And then you have 12 tribes of Israel, all right, which we happen to be from. So let's go and show you the 12 tribes. All right. So the 12 tribes right here. All right. Judah are the so-called Negroes. Benjamin are the so-called West Indians. Levi are the so-called Haitians. All right. So Benjamin, you know, those brothers on the island, right? Over there in Jamaica and all that. So that's the Southern Kingdom. That makes up what people would call the so-called black people, right? Now you have the so-called Latinos down here, which are called the Northern Kingdom biblically. You have Simeon, the so-called Dominicans. Zebulon, the so-called Guatemalans, Panamanians. You have Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Ricans. Manasseh, the so-called Cubans. Gad, the so-called North American Indians. They just call them the Native Americans, right? Reuben, the so-called Seminole Indians. Naphtali, the so-called Argentinians. Chileans. Asher, the Colombians, the so-called Colombians, Uruguayans, you know, the Brazilians over there. Issachar, the so-called Mexicans. So we all have nations that we go back to, all right, whether you're a heathen or whether you're an Israelite. Okay, Israelite goes back to 12 tribes, and heathens go back to those heathen nations that we mentioned, right? And there's more than that. Those are just the ones that I could recall. And those, you know, big primary ones. So, you know, are you going to burn because you look like an Asian person or because you look like a white person? No. All right, I myself look like a so-called white person, okay? So we'll get in that. I can turn on the camera. And it's a little messy in here, but I'll pop it on real quick. As you can see, lo and behold, I look like a so-called white person, right? So, does that make me an Edomite because of the way I look? Will I burn just cause I'm white? First of all, no one's white. There's no white people out here. This text is white. Look at him. Is he this color? No. What color is he? He's pink. He's red. Okay? Not that makes him an Edomite, but Edomites were originally that color. Now, we've had a lot of people getting with other nations, all right? Jake has gotten with other nations. Jake loves them some white women. Gets with white women, gets with white women, gets with white women. Soon enough, you have a white-looking little leprous baby running around. All right? So, Numbers 1 and 16 through 18. So, now his daddy, all right, four or five generations ago. All right, his great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, all right, his name was Marquise, and he talked like this and had a dark voice, and he was dark. He looked like Wesley Snipes. All right, now this little white baby running around now, what is he? He's an Edomite, right? Nope, wrong. He's still a Jake. Whatever that his granddaddy was is what he is. Whatever that granddaddy's granddaddy was is what he is. So this is Numbers 1 and 16 through 18. It says, verse 16, these were the renowned of the congregation, princes of the tribes of their fathers, heads of thousands in Israel. Verse 17, and Moses and Aaron took these men, which are expressed by their names, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Okay, so how did they declare their pedigrees? After their family? After who? Their skin color? No. After their mothers? No. After their other relatives? No. After who? By the house of their fathers. So they declared their pedigree. All right, pedigree. If we can get it. Pedigree means what? The record of descent. What is descent? Descent. All right, ancestry. All right, the origin or background of a person in terms of family or nationality. Nationality. What is what?
Nationality.
All right, an ethnic group or part of one or more political nations. An ethnic group, a tribe, a clan, a nation. More importantly right here, a race. Your race. Because that's the big thing right now. What's your race? Oh, I'm Mexican. I'm black. Oh, I'm Indian. I'm this. I'm that. What's your race? Your ethnicity. Your ethnicity. Well, how did they declare their ethnicity? Right? They declared their ethnicity by what? The house of their fathers. They declared their pedigrees, which is their race. Suddenly I'm fucking mic'd that. They declared the race. All right. They declared their race. All right. Their pedigree by the house of their fathers. Okay. By the house of their fathers. Now, so that means whatever your mom is no matter to what you are. Now, the woman's part in birth is very, very important. All right, she's still got to fertilize that egg, so it's still very important. Don't get that twisted, women, because we're not important. No, you are important. You just don't have anything to do with, generating the nationality of that child. It doesn't matter if you're an Edomite. Doesn't matter if you're a Moabite. Doesn't matter if you're a Hamite. Doesn't matter if you're an Ishmaelite. Doesn't matter if you're a Judite. Doesn't matter if you're a Issacharite. No matter what you are, you're not going to change what that child is. If the father's an Issacharite, the kid's an Issacharite. If the father's an Edomite, the kid's an Edomite. If the father's an Ammonite, the kid's an Ammonite. All right. If the father's from Naphtali, the kid's going to be from Naphtali. That's just how it is. It's not judged or weighed anything by the mother. All right. The mother doesn't determine who the child is. It's through the seed line of the father, because the seed, right, comes from what? Sperm. Sperm is seed. So it's through the sperm, all right? Now, the woman doesn't add anything in, maybe some genetics and some genes, but she doesn't change any genetic code of the sperm, all right? It still has that it's basically that, that's the key, right? And it's not going to fit in any other car, man. So you're not going to go in with a Ford and come out all of a sudden with a Dodge, all right? A Ford's a Ford, no matter if it's serviced in a Dodge mechanic or not, right? That's just how it's going to be. So, it might, and the baby now, like I said, it adds genes. The mother will add genes, but it doesn't change the seed line of that child. All right. It doesn't, it can add things on, but it cannot take away. All right. So, you might have, your mom has some, a tiny ass nose. You're going to might have a tiny ass nose. She has a big ass honking ass nose. You might have a big ass honking ass nose, and everyone's going to call you clown nose. All right. You might have, a mom with some big ass Dumbo ears, and now all of a sudden your ass is walking around with some Dumbo ears flapping around. But at the end of the day, guess what? You're still whatever your father was. Now, you're going to have characteristics of both of your parents, but your seed line is not changed. That is only determined by your father. Now, I'm curious, so I'm going to go and get into this dictionary. I almost said Bible. This dictionary that we downloaded yesterday or the day before. That's from like the 1800s or something like that. And I'm curious what the word pedigree means in here. So we're going to let that load. So again, we're going to read it in verse 18 while this is loading up here. Verse 18, Numbers 1 and 18 says, and they'd assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Now, another thing we're going to do is we're going to get this, and we're going to go and see what it says in the Good News Translation, because I'm just curious. So let's go and see what it has to say in the Good News Translation. All right. We'll do that in a minute. Let's go and get what's first of all, let's see if we can type in here pedigree. See if we can get anything out of that. I guess not. Well, maybe it's just because we need to scroll. G. Maybe it doesn't have the best search function. We'll come back. So Numbers 1 and 18, the Good News Translation says, and I don't really particularly care for it, but it says, called together the whole community on the first day of the second month and registered all the people by clans and families. And they kind of ruined it. It says the names of the men 20 years old or older were recorded and counted. Let's go try some other ones. Let's try the New Living Translation. Let's see what that has to say. The NLT says what? Clans and families. What about the New International Version? Clans and families. Clans and families. We're not, and it's really taking away when they say clans and families, because pedigree is a more defining word. Now another way we can go and find something. LMNOP. Where's it at? Might have quite a few pages of O's. So let's see here. Let's zoom in too. I can't see shizzit. All right. So let's see. Pedigree will be somewhere in here, I assume. Just got to get to the E's. Let's go to... Okay, a little bit too far. Let's scroll up. Ped. All right, PED. Or is it PEDI? It's PEDI, my dumbass. Pedigree. Boom, boom, boom. Right here. Right here. Pedigree. Okay. It says, by degrees, all right, for a pedigree is properly a genealogical table. What is genealogic? Genealogical. Let's look this word up. Genealogical. Genealogy is the study of families, family history, and the tracing of their lineage. Right? So, genealogy. Let's go and look it up. It says, family tree traces the descendants of one person, whereas family history traces the ancestors of one person, but the terms are often used interchangeably, yada, yada, yada. What is it exactly? What is genealogy? The account of the descent of person or family group from an ancestor or from older forms. So there you go. That's pretty much already got it. It says table which records the relationship of families by degrees, line of ancestors, descent. Okay, descent. Let's look up that word. Ancestry, parentage, ancestors, family, lineage, line. All right, pedigree, blood, birth, strain, and they're hiding that word race. It says lineage, genealogical strain, an account or register of a line of ancestors. All right, and down here it says, look, the Jews preserved the pedigrees of their several tribes. Okay, so there you go. So pedigree, there you go. That's what it means. So that's why you get these older dictionaries sometimes, because they don't fuck around. They didn't have any of that wokeism happening where they try to change it. So there you go. That's what pedigree is. Now, for to further expound upon this topic, let's go ahead and get Numbers 1 and 18, and let's go and find that word, pedigree. Okay, right here. Boom, 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 boom. I missed it. Where was it? There it is. And they declared their pedigrees. Pedigrees. That's not the word we wanted. That just means bring forth. Yalad.
Strong's H3205. Yalad. Yalad.
To begin. Derivative from this word. It says declared their pedigree. See DI. What is DI? Let's go and look this word up. What is this word? History. Uh-oh. There we go. So this word means histories. All right. So they declared their histories. All right. Genealogies. There you go. Genealogies. An account of a man and his descendants. So that's interesting right here. Toledoth or Toledoth. It says the generations. Generations. All right. And it goes back to this book is the generations of Adam. So when you look in the word generations, they're generation. And if you look through the generations of Adam or any of the other generations, the generations of Noah, the generations of Yahushua, right? If you look at any of these generations, you will see that generations of Jacob, like of Israel, right? If you look up any of these generations, what is it talking about? It's talking, and Noah begat and so begat, right? Let's go and get Genesis 2 and 4, and let's just show you. That's not what I wanted, but we can still get from right here. Generations 2 and 4. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created in the day of the Lord, in the day that the Lord Yahweh made the earth and the heavens. That's not the one we wanted. We want the generations of Adam. But the word generation was used there. Generations of Adam, right here, Genesis 5 and 1. So this is the book of the generations of Adam, and the day that Yahweh created man, in the likeness of Yahweh made he him. All right, right here. It says, and the day, starting from 4, in the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth, were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters. Now, is it going to talk about his daughters? No, it's not. It says, and Seth lived, skipping down, and Seth lived 100 years and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years and begat sons and daughters. Is it going to mention a daughter? Nope, it's not going to mention a daughter. Who's it going to mention next? Come on. And Enos lived 90 years and begat Canaan. Okay, well, let's see who this person is. Is it a girl, maybe? It says the father. He is described as a son. So yeah, see how it's all men, because that's how the lineage is carried on. It's not by women. All right, and begat Canaan. And Enos lived after he begat Canaan 800 years and 815 years and begat sons and daughters. Where are these daughters? Where are they at? And Canaan lived 70 years and begat Mahalaleel. Oh, what about Mahalaleel? What happened then? And Mahalaleel lived 60 and 5 years and begat Jared. All right, we don't need to continue on. You get it. So it's talking about the generation. All right, the generation, which when you go back to the generation, it's men, right? It's all men. Because that's how the generations are carried on. Not through women, but by men. All right, now, women are very important because we need them to be able to carry on this lineage because obviously, you can have the dough all you want, but you can't cook it unless you got an oven, right? So it's a very important job, okay? So don't get it twisted and be like, it's not an important job. See, you're just a womb. You're not just a womb. You're more than that. You help run the house. You do there's a fucking whole plethora of things that women do, and you've just been lied to and been told that, oh, what they're saying you're not important. No, we need you to birth. All right, we need you to help, guide the household and help keep it, in a normal fashion. All right. We also require a woman's wisdom I don't want to say wisdom, but in a way, input on certain things, because men kind of tend to think more, more headstrong and like fast and to the point. And sometimes, the women will help and be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't. Like you see in the wild, you'll see how the women act and amongst like lions and lionesses. All right, a lion will try to get into some fight or something. You see, there was this one video where this lion was trying to fight his what do you want to call it? His like the zookeeper. All right, and the woman came over and was like, hey, he's gonna fuck you up. Don't do it, and like pawed him away and said, don't do it. It's not worth it. And that lion went and sat down. So there's certain situations like that where a woman's also useful. There's many different use cases. All right. But at the end of the day, yes, a woman is a servant to her husband. Yes, that's how it works. Sorry, not sorry. That's the way it was made. We didn't make that rule. All right. And if we did, we wouldn't change it. That's just the way it's supposed to be. That's called order. Okay. We have our position just like you have your position. Okay. And women don't like to go out and work all day. Well, guess what, men? That's one of our things. We're the breadwinners. We got to go and work. Okay. If we have our tasks, you damn sure have to have yours. We have to go out and do all these things. You can't stay home and cook. You can't do something. And that's the state in the world now. They expect the men to still be breadwinners and make $200,000 a year and do all these things, but they won't so much as cook or clean, or they don't want to have kids. So what's the point? That just sounds like baggage to me, man. That just sounds like baggage. So now you have another expense. That's all it is. You just have another expense of what? Companionship. They won't cook. They won't clean. You don't want to have kids. You barely want to have a relationship as it is. They're on their phone all day on social media and TikTok. You tell them, hey, don't wear that. I don't like when you wear that because your titties are all hanging out, and that's just not right. You're in a relationship with me. What are you doing? You ain't my daddy. So what are you gaining out of that? It sounds like you're gaining nothing but a headache and a fucking a nightmare. So we ain't looking for women. We're looking for wives. All right. And really, if you can refrain from a wife, and most of us already have wives, but if you can refrain from getting one, it's good that a man. What is it? It's good that a man. It is good for a man to not have a woman. Something along those lines. 1 Corinthians 7:1. It is good for a man not to touch a woman. Right. So there you go. And then it says, however, the verse continues, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. If you can refrain. Right? So you see it. So continuing on, we kind of got off track with that. But, it's dealing with, there's a whole lot to it. So it's not about what the woman is. For example, my mom happens to be a white woman who's more than likely an Edomite. Right? More than likely an Edomite. Now, does that make me an Edomite? No, because my dad's a Jake. All right, how do I know my dad's a Jake? Sometimes he doesn't act very Jakey. There's another question. Well, my dad acts just like an Edomite. How do I know if I'm not an Edomite? I like this truth. Well, there you go. That's the first thing. That was a big sign right there. You like this truth. You're in this truth. You're calling upon the name of Yahweh Shemiao Shai. You're making lessons if you're making lessons, right? You're praying to Yahweh Shemiao Shai. You're praying for the downfall of these Edomites, these wicked devils, man. In this society. That's not a thing that Esau does. That's not a thing that Ammon does. That's not a thing that Ishmael does. That's an Israelite thing. Okay? And you can't even have a connection with Yahweh Shemiao Shai unless you're an Israelite. First of all, you're not going to call on the name if you're an Edomite. You're never going to call on the name Yahweh Shemiao Shai. Now, you can say the name. All right? We've seen people use it mockingly. All right? And I don't know if it was Vocab Malone. I think he has. But they'll mock the name Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. But you'll never see them calling on the name. All right, you'll never hear them, truly call on the name. Now, this is a scripture that says the name of the Lord, and we'll just look that up to show you. The name of the Lord, well, there's that one too. Strikes fear. Is fearful, actually, is fearful is what it should say. I've messed up. The name of the Lord is dreadful. Is the word. It's coming to my mind now. Is dreadful, right? Dreadful is the word I was looking for. Malachi 1 and 11. That's in 14 as well, but we'll get it right here. It says, Malachi 1 and 11. It says, for the rising of the sun, even unto the going down of the same, my name shall be great among the Gentiles, and in every place incense shall be offered unto my name. The Gentile LC. That's the Israelite foreigners, but nice try. It says, and a pure offering, for my name shall be great among the heathen, saith the late Lord of hosts. All right, so it said shall be great, so it's going to be there. Right here, it says what? But cursed be the deceiver, this is verse 14, which hath a flock, hath in his flock a male, and voweth and sacrifice unto the Lord a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, saith the Lord of hosts, and my name is dreadful among the heathen. It's dreadful among the heathen. They're not going to like it. All right, they do not like it. Okay, so that's another way. So you can't go off of appearance. These people saying, oh, these black sons of bitches, all they're doing is just fucking, there's just a bunch of race and bullshit. It's not about race, it's about lineage. Okay, it's not about color. I mean, if you want to call race lineage, race is usually pretty simple for Edomites. The race of white, the race of black, the race of brown, the race of Asian, right? Well, it's deeper than that, because it's not only are we Israelites, it's deeper. Israelites, and we have tribes. We go back to the respective tribes. And just same with you Edomites. You're not just an Edomite. Some of you might just be the plain Jane Edomites, but some of you might be Amalek. Some of you might be Magog. All right, so on and so forth. So you don't know. It says 1 Samuel 16:7 says, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature. These are physical attributes, right? It says, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. So the Lord looks on the heart. He can tell through your spirit, through your soul, all right? Not, oh, he's white, he's an Edomite. No, that's how men see, all right? Like it says, for the Lord seeth not as man seeth. The Lord doesn't see like man seeth. So that's showing you that man seeth on appearance. He looks on, oh, how tall is he? How short is he? How muscular is he? How handsome is he? How ugly is he? All right, how is this? How is that? Right? Oh, what color is his skin? Right? The Lord doesn't look on those things. All right, we come in all shapes, size, and colors, and formulations, man. All right, but we're all Israelites. Some of us might be tall, some of us might be small, some of us might be heavy set, some of us might be real skinny, some of us might be super attractive, some of us might just be regular looking dudes, right? Some of it's all different. Some of us might have real dark skin, some might have real light skin, some might be leprous looking, some might be Asian looking, some might be Arab looking, right? There's different ways that we look, and it doesn't count who we are. That's not what we look like is not who we are. Because you have black people out there, so-called, that ain't even Jakes. They're not even Israelites, man. Look at Lenny Kravitz. He ain't a brother. All right, look at Lenny Kravitz, right? He's the example I always give. Look at Lenny Kravitz. All right, he considered black, but guess what? This guy's an Ashkenazi Jew, man. An Ashkenazi small hat, I should say, right? And you can tell when you really think this guy's a little bit easy to tell, and he's just a little fucking weird because he's a small hat. But there's other people, man, that ain't let's see, black celebrities with white parents, with white fathers. Let's see. See, Bob Marley had a white dad, but it's still speculated that he's a Jake. All right, Tia and Tamara. Who else? Trevor Noah. He has a white dad. That guy's a fucking Edomite. You want to see an Edomite? Look up Trevor Noah. Who else do we have? We have Lenny Kravitz. All right. Will Smith's ex-wife, Cherie Zampino. Italian dad and black mom. See, so she's Zampino. The Italians were actually, if there goes back to being Sicilian, the Sicilians are actually Jakes. So there you go. Who else we got? I'm not gonna spend all the time, but you can go and find it out. And just because their parents are white, again, look at Bob Marley. He has a white dad, but that guy's more than like. I wouldn't be surprised if he's an Edomite because of how he bullied himself into the record labels. But anytime there's a big influential wave that hit, it's more than likely a Jake, right? You get Elvis, Eminem, right? Bob Marley. All right, you got to think. Anytime there's a big wave like that, you got to think it could be an Israelite. Okay, more likely could be. It is more likely. I know that. Everybody knows that Eminem's an Israelite. Everybody knows that Elvis is an Israelite, right? And that one took me a little bit to believe. But after I got into it, history and the lesson that Elder Apostle Gabar made, I said, you know what? I'm glad that I watched this video. Call all you how Bash Meow Shy. I watched this video because it opened my eyes about it. Because I was like, oh man, this guy could have been Edomite. But look at how people are obsessed over him. Look how many women, oh my God, Elvis! Just like they do with the Jake men. Makes sense, right? So, 1 John 4:1. So how do we know then if we can't go off of skin color? Well, 1 John 4:1. Now this is talking about false prophets, but we're using another thing in here that's a definitive character, a defining characteristic for these people, right? To who they are, who they aren't. 1 John 4:1, beloved, believe not every spirit, right? Here's the point, but try the spirits whether they are of the Most High. And it goes on to say, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. So this is talking with false prophets. But right here is this is a little chunk of goodness right here. All right, the whole scripture's good, but it says, but try the spirits whether they are of the Most High. So how do we know if someone's an Edomite or not? Well, try the spirit. All right, start talking about things scripturally and spiritually and the atrocities that the Edomites have done. If they start getting all flamed up, it's one of two things. They're either an Uncle Tom or they're an Edomite. All right, a chocolate-covered Edomite, even if they look brown. All right, now there's a lot of Uncle Toms out there, so it can be kind of hard to tell. All right, but if you have someone who already looks like a so-called white person and their horn, you fucking black piece of shit, they start saying things, that's an Edomite. Ding, 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 you found one. You found yourself an Edomite. When those horns start coming out, you fucking racist fucks, you're driving us apart. You're the fucking problem with the world. You fucking N-word. Yep, found the Edomite. Ding, 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 ding. The Edomite alarm's going off. Woo, 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 woo. That's a cracker right there, right? So that's how you know. But you can't just look off of skin color and say, yeah, that's an Edomite. You can't, or with Jake even. Now, a good amount of the time, now we say this, it's not always definitive, but most of the time you see a white person, it just so happens to be that they're an Edomite, and most of the times you see a so-called black person, it just so happened to be a so-called, southern, one of the southern kingdoms, whether it's Judah, Levi, or Benjamin, right? So-called Negro, right? So that's just how it happens to be, but it's not definitive, all right? So you can't just judge off of skin color. Now, again, yeah, most of the white-looking people are Edomites. Most of the Mexican-looking people are Issacharites, and most of the dark-skinned-looking people are Judah, Levi, or Benjamin. That is correct, or sometimes Dominican, right? Which would be what was it? I always forget. I don't have my southern kingdom tribes down. Dominicans are the Simeon. All right, so Simeon. Okay, so it could be because they're very dark too. All right, so that's pretty much that, man. We got a couple more scriptures. We got two more, and they're shorter ones. We're gonna close out. So you just gotta, hey, most of the time you look on those people, yeah, they are what they look, but not all the time. All right, that doesn't mean it's 50-50 with white people. At the end of the day, it could be, but most of these white people you see walking around, so-called white people, most of them are Edomites, but not all of them are Edomites. Most of these, these walking around looking, dark-skinned looking dudes walking around are Judites, but not all of them are Judites. All right, guess what? Some of those brothers, they look just like a Judite, walking around dark skin and everything, curly afroic hair, and guess what? They just go back to Gad. All right, they're a Gadite. They're a Native American, and here it is. I'm black. Well, yeah, they call your skin black, but you're actually a Gadite. But you might have some that why do I get? Man, I get better along with Latino brothers. Maybe you're an Issacharite. All right, you got to realize Jake all intermingled, man. You had Judah getting with Issachar getting with Gad getting with all different types of things, and all of us were on the Trail of Tears. All right, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Now the Native Americans are known to be the ones that walked the Trail of Tears, but Negroes and Latinos were in there as well. So-called Negroes, Latinos, right? They were there as well. So we all intermingled and got down, and who knows now? Some of these so-called black people you see walking around, you say, oh yeah, that's a Judite. Nah, that's just a Gadite right there. That's a Gadite walking around, man. And you'd never know. Where'd all the Indians go? Where'd all the Indians go, man? Well, go and look to some of the Issacharite communities, man. That's where they are. Go and look at some of the so-called Negro communities, the Judite communities, man. That way they would call there would be a lot of Judites there. But guess what? Some of these so-called black people are actually just Gadites or Issacharites, okay? And they're not actually Judites at all. They're still Israelites, but they're not who you would perceive them to be, because it's not about skin color. All right, it's about pedigree, about heritage, about genealogy, right? So again, John 7:24, dealing with the same topic, but not about appearance. John 7:24, this is red letter Yahushua speaking. It says, judge not according to appearance. It's like you judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. And that's something we have to do, is be able to judge righteous judgment. All right, you can't just single someone out, all right, in a video or a camp or wherever you are because they look like a so-called white person. Just like you can't let someone who's brown into your fold automatically. Turns out they go back to being an East African and they're just a Hamite. All right, and that's why you always have issues with them. All right, so finally we're going to get Matthew 13:24 through 30. Then we're going to go ahead and close out, because these people are tares that look like so-called black people, but they're actually Edomites. These are tares, and there's a reason it's so hard to differentiate, right? And it talks about that. So Matthew 13:24 says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field. In this case, it's Yahushua, right? It says, but while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Another thing you got to realize down on the East Coast is there's probably a higher number of tares down on the East Coast. Why? Because those slave owners down there, where all those plantations were popping Jake hardcore. And you're having little mixed babies, as they were, from the slave master's seed. All right, going through those so-called black women that were graped. All right, and now they had those babies, and those now look like little chocolate babies, but they're actually just chocolate-covered Edomites, right? So an enemy had come and sowed tares among the wheat. Now, if you look up tare and wheat, they look very similar. All right, tare and wheat, look them up. Tare and wheat, they look very similar, very similar. Tare and wheat, they look very similar. Okay, so you might not always be able to tell. All right, but once you taste them, you'll be able to tell, right? And that's like trying the spirit. Verse 26, it says, but when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, did thou not sow good seed in thy field? From whence hath it tares? Why are there tares here? Why don't this ain't wheat? Did you plant cheap seed or something? Something's wrong. All right. Verse 29. But he said, Nay. No, Slakia. Verse 28. He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Will thou then that we go and gather them up? You want us to go get them? We'll gather them all up and get them out of here. But he said, Nay, lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Verse 30, let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them into bundles to burn them, and gather the wheat into my barn. Let me read that again. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them into bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So that's how it's going to be in the end days, man, is that these tares are going to be taken out. All right, they're going to be taken out. They're not going to make it in the chariots. Oops, accidentally got in here. No, that's not how it works. All right, so are you an Edomite because of the way you look? No, you're not. But you are an Edomite because of your lineage, where you go back to, your genealogy, your pedigree, your father and his father and his father and his father and his father. And just because he looks white doesn't necessarily mean he's an Edomite. All right, if he's got sauce, if he's got pizzazz, if he's got what's another word? Salt. All right, he's got that salt about him. All right, because we're the salt of the earth, right? Then hey, man, could be a Jake. All right, are you calling upon the name of Yahweh Shemel Shai? Are you invested in this Bible? Are you getting the truth and not Christianity? Are you learning about these Edomites and the wickedness that they've done? Then hey, guess what? More than likely an Israelite and not an Edomite, right? So that's pretty much sums it up. Lord willing, it was edifying. With that, we're gonna go ahead and close out. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth and rule well. Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, Shalom.